My name is Ng Sun Xiang with family number 261446. Today I want to discuss about the analysis of internal and external factors affecting the Subaru Corporation performance. In this study, we know that Subaru faced some problem or risk such as operational risk. For example, the impact of the increase in operating expenses have raised the interest rate in United States, and this made the operating income of Subaru decrease by 7.6% to 379.4 billion yen. Besides that, Subaru also involved in liquidity risk due to the auto loan crisis. Other than that, Subaru also faced obstacles such as credit risk about the problem of unable to collect the payment from the customer. Moreover, Subaru also involved in market risk such as Subaru has not enough sales in China and caused Subaru difficult to survive in China's market since China market is the largest market in the world. There are three research objectives in this study. The first objective is to investigate the internal factor of company towards company performance. The second objective is to investigate the external factor towards company performance. And the last objective is to investigate the internal factor and the external factor towards the company performance. There are three research questions in this study. The first question is there any relationship between internal factor and the company performance? The second one is there any relationship between external factor and company performance? And the last one is there any relationship between internal and external factor towards company performance? In this study, the most important things that we need to know is the definition of performance, which is our main topic. According to Bartoli and Matrix, performance is the result of a company after they tried their best to produce in a company, and it should be reached through items such as showing, calculation, efficiency, and qualities. Mock, Slifer, and Vishny say that the value of the company will increase when company run in a good way. The good performance of a company can as a measurement for the investor to invest in the company. The method that I use in this study is sampling method. The data are collected from the annual report of Subaru from year 2014 to year 2018 to measure the dependence variables and the independence variable. Besides that, I also use the statistical analysis such as ordinary least square analysis by using multiple linear regression analysis to determine the dependent and independent variables. The table above shows that the descriptive analysis of dependence, which is ROA, and the independence variable from year 2014 until year 2018. In the table, we can see that the mean of the operational margin is 0.1348, while the standard deviation is 0.038. And the mean of the exchange rate is 115.852, while the standard deviation is 4.8516. In the part of correlation, we can see that the most significant value is operating margin, which the value is 0.99. The operating profit margin ratio tells us the profit of a company after paying for variable cost of production. In this case, Subaru gains 99 cents before interest and tax for every 1 ringgit of sales. The average correction period is not significant because the significant value is more than 0.1, which is 0.402. This is an ANOVA table of internal variable, which is operating margin. The table above shows a significant value of 0.001, which is below the alpha value of P below than 0.05. It shows that the variable is perfectly significant to represent the model. This is the ANOVA table for external variable of exchange rate. The table above shows a significant value of 0.553, which is above the alpha value of p smaller than 0.05. It shows that the variable is not significant to represent the model. This is a ANOVA table for internal and external variables. The operating margin is choose. The table above shows a significant value of 0.001, which is below the alpha value, which p smaller than 0.05. It shows that the variable is perfectly significant to represent the model. This is the table of model summary for internal variables. Based on the table above, it can conclude that adjusted R-square is equal to 97.3%. This implies that by using all the internal variables in the model to explain 97.3% of the variance in the profitability of Subaru, while the remaining 2.7% of the adjusted R-square remain unknown. This indicates that the variance in this profitability of Subaru is unable to explain by the internal variables. This is the table of model summary for external variables. Based on the table above, it can conclude that adjusted R-square is equal to 19%. This implies that by using all the external variables in the model to explain 19% of the variance in the profitability of Subaru, while the remaining 81% of the adjusted R-square remain unknown. This indicates that the variance in the profitability of Subaru is unable to explain by the external variables. Model summary for internal and external variable. Based on the table above, we can conclude that the adjusted R-square of operating margin is equal to 99.8%. This implies that by using all the internal and external variables in the model to explain 99.8% of variance in the profitability of Subaru, while the remaining 0.02% of the adjusted R-square remain unknown. This is the table of coefficient result for internal variables. Based on the table above, the operating margin has the highest impact with t-value, which is 12.162 to profitability compared to others internal variables. It also shows a coefficient of Subaru from years 2014 until 2018. The operating margin influences company very much. In the finding, the beta of operating margin indicates that it's a positive relationship to the company. The higher the operating margin, the higher the company gains the profit. This is the table coefficient result for external variables. Based on the table above, the exchange rate variables has the highest impact with t-value of 1.398 to the profitability compared to GDP, inflation, and the interest rate. It also shows a coefficient of Subaru from year 2014 until year 2018. The exchange rate shows a big influence to company. The beta of exchange rate indicates that it is a positive relationship to the company. Let us move to the coefficient part. This is the table of coefficient result for internal and external variables. Based on the table above, the operating margin has the highest impact with t-value, which is 37.018 to profitability compared to others internal variables and external variables. It shows a coefficient of Subaru from year 2014 until 2018. The operating margin influences company very much. According to Dr. Monica Tusian, she said that the beta of operating margin indicates there's a positive relationship to the company. Based on the result in Chapter 4, we can know that the profitability of Subaru has been affected by operating margin, which is the internal factor of the company. The correlation shows that there is a strong positive relationship between the operating margin and the profitability of the company. We can conclude that the higher the operating margin, the higher the profitability of a company. Besides that, the operational ratio of Subaru is getting higher in these few years. For a suggestion, Subaru needs to reduce the operational ratio to gain more profit. Subaru can reduce the useless operational costs, such as the loss due to the careless of labor. The labor needs to work carefully to avoid such losses.